Welcome back to Quest for You. I'm Janine, and this is my podcast of the same name, Quest for You. So excited you're here, and let's dive in. We recently had a heartbreak episode, so I think it's good timing to talk about love. It's probably the most difficult subject I can imagine. It's one all the writers and poets of our time and times before us have wrestled with. To me, it doesn't matter how beautiful the poem about love is that I'm reading, or how riveting the love stories that I'm devouring in a good novel. It's never good enough. Love is always so much more complex and difficult than the words in front of me can describe it. And while I often find them soothing because they reflect exactly the same painful or blissful emotions I have felt before, I can never quite find enough help when I most need it. Have not all of us at some point in our life turned to these great writers and the famous movies to seek just such advice? We all want love in our life, and we all want to love more and be loved more. Yet love is so much more than just love. There's hope, there's freedom, happiness, and fulfillment. We all tie our entire world around love. Its presence fills our life, and its absence empties it. Yet our need for love often is what stands in the way of all the happiness and freedom we hope to gain from love. So the best advice I have found in literature and movies and all forms of art is not on how to love another person, because this kind of help ignores me and who I am as a person, but on how to love myself more. And that is the only advice I will ever pass on to you on this podcast, because love is so personal, so intimate, and so deeply unique to the person loving and the person being loved. All we can ever do is grow our own hearts so we can love more. Zen Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh tells us, when we feed and support our own happiness, we are nourishing our ability to love. That's why to love means to learn the art of nourishing our happiness. The Buddhists don't talk about love without talking about suffering. And it's not the kind of suffering we so often feel when our love goes unreciprocated or when it's being hurt or disrespected. Rather, it's the art of understanding our own suffering and that of the other person. And through this understanding and this empathy with ourselves and the world, that we come closer to actually being able to love. Thich Nhat Hanh also says, when we learn to love and understand ourselves and have true compassion for ourselves, then we can truly love and understand another person. This, to me, is advice I can use. Rather than just being thrown around in the throes of emotions that come with love, I can do this. I can look at myself and try to understand. Nhat Hanh describes this lack of understanding so wisely and also quite witty. Sometimes we feel empty. We feel a vacuum, a great lack of something. We don't know the cause. It's very vague, but that feeling of being empty inside is very strong. We expect and we hope for something much better, so we'll feel less alone, less empty. The desire to understand ourselves and to understand life is a deep thirst. There's also the deep thirst to be loved and to love. We are ready to love and be loved. It's very natural. But because we feel empty, we try to find an object of our love. Sometimes we haven't had the time to understand ourselves, yet we've already found the object of our love. When we realize that all our hopes and expectations, of course, can't be fulfilled by that person, we continue to feel empty. We want to find something, but we don't know what to search for. In everyone, there's a continuous desire and expectation. Deep inside, you still expect something better to happen. That is why you check your email many times a day. Love for many of us is often a search. We search for love because we feel it will fill up all the holes and drains in our life and heal all our ills and maladies. The reason I titled this episode Before We Love is this. Before we go on a search for love, before we enter relationships with others, expecting them to fill us with love, we need to do what Nat Han so plainly and genuinely describes. When we learn to love and understand ourselves and have true compassion for ourselves, then we can truly love and understand another person. We have to first understand ourselves. I have spent many years alone, and I've always thought that this somehow was enough evidence that I was ready for a relationship. But during that time, I really didn't do any real work to get ready for a relationship. I didn't spend time understanding who I am. Rather, I spent time dreaming about who the other person should be, that I would want to be with. I didn't take time to reflect on me, to learn about me and who I am. Yet this is exactly what we need to do before we love. Instead of spending time and effort and money searching for the one, hoping and waiting and planning to meet this person, we should use the time not to distract ourselves, as I often did. Bars, parties, trips, media, and all sorts of time killers, but really taking time out for ourselves. Again, Nat Han describes it beautifully. The essence of loving kindness is being able to offer happiness. You can be the sunshine for another person. You can't offer happiness until you have it for yourself. So build a home inside by accepting yourself and learning to love and heal yourself. Learn how to practice mindfulness in such a way that you can create moments of happiness and joy for your own nourishment. Then you have something to offer the other person. So, before you love, take time for yourself to discover that sunshine within yourself and bring it out, to heal the wounds that might need your care, and to become aware of who you are. Before you love, before you move in close to another person's heart, demanding their attention, their time, and their love, move in closer to yourself first. Give yourself the attention, the time, and the love that your heart is longing for. I want to end with this thought-provoking poem by the Polish writer and Nobel Prize winner in literature, Czesław Miłosz. To me, it really hones in on this coming closer by actually taking a step back. Because, let's be honest, we look at ourselves every day. We always check to see if we're beautiful enough, good enough, and ready on the outside for whatever the world demands of us. But we have to learn to look past the surface, deeper on the inside, and that may require a step back, so we can really see ourselves. This seeing in and of itself is a craft that might require some learning. So here goes the poem by Czesław Miłosz. It's titled Love. Love means to learn to look at yourself the way one looks at distant things, for you are only one thing among many. And whoever sees that way heals his heart, without knowing it, from various ills. A bird and a tree say to him, "Friend." Then he wants to use himself and things, so that they stand in the glow of ripeness. It doesn't matter whether he knows what he serves. Who serves best doesn't always understand. Have a great day, everyone. Much love.